So I'm having a conversation with someone online on a thread on a post that I wrote about a year ago on an evolution video. And this guy, a Christian, is asking me a lot of leading questions. And questions about whether or not I have a soul and about sin. And I convey one of my favorite stories, which is if I ever hear somebody say, let he who is without sin cast the first stone, that as a joke I would pick up a stone because the idea of sin I don't buy into, especially sin that you're born with. So the joke, and I explained this to him, that, I don't have that sin that I would pick up a stone to exemplify, that I don't have that sin. I understand the moral of the story is that, those who have nothing to be ashamed of pick up first stone, which, I've got things I could be ashamed of, but I was making the joke that it was about sin. Specifically about sin that you're born with, the sin that is described in the Bible. And of course, this story about the person picking up first stone for sin, that's a made-up story. That is not an actual story. That story came like 1,000 years after the Bible. Anyways, he is asking a lot of leading questions and being very manipulative, twisting what I say, and I don't know if he was trying to be obtuse, but he was being very obtuse, and he was being very... It was like he was trying to get me to say something specific, which I wasn't accommodating him. So he kept twisting what I was saying, and he brought up that as an atheist, I would pick up a stone and throw the stone to kill the woman. I was like, no, I'd never said anything like that. You're the ones bringing that up. I said, as a joke, I would pick up a stone. Said nothing about throwing it. Said nothing about killing anybody. Anyways, we're having this conversation, and he's just really working very hard at trying to change what I'm saying into something completely different. And I point this out several times. Finally he says, well, what kind of person do you think a Christian should be? And I said an honest person, a person who doesn't manipulate other people, who doesn't try to be overtly misconstruing what they say. Say, well, how should I perceive, an atheist like yourself? And I said, well, honestly, if it weren't for Christians like you, him specifically, or even any religious person like him, who is manipulative and like, oh, I'm with God and I'm special and just... There would not be atheists like me. Of course, I would still be an atheist because I don't think there's any reason to believe there's God. Very simple. And I'm very comfortable with that, and I have no need for God, and I have no need to really say anything about it. But because of people like him that are holier than thou in this attitude of atheists are immoral and have no soul and are sinful and just... It's very irritating, which is one of the reasons I became an outspoken atheist. But the point is that I'm trying to make here is there is no need for me to be the kind of atheist that I am. I've spent most of my life being very content, really not saying anything. Because when religion doesn't come up, I have no, religion isn't part of the subject because there's no God. I don't need church, I don't need God, I don't need to talk about it because it's a non-subject for me. Other than the fact that it is a subject and an ongoing conversation for everyone around me. And being told constantly I should believe in God makes me outspoken because I shouldn't need to believe in God. There's no reason for me to believe in God. There's no upside to believing in God. I don't believe in God just in case, as it has been suggested to me that I should believe in God just in case, and I've expressed my viewpoints on that as well. But I have no interest in religion. I have no interest in God other than responding to the people who think that people like myself, who don't have any interest or need in God, have something wrong with them. Because being told there's something wrong with you because you don't believe what they believe, that's something wrong with them. And so I point that out to them. I don't say there's something wrong with you because you believe in God. I say there's something wrong with you because you think there's something wrong with me because I don't believe in God. And this goes for a great many things. Homosexuality is a very big part of that, actually, because people use their beliefs in God to say there's something wrong with homosexuality. Now, is there something wrong with homosexuality? It's not the norm, but that's not to say that it isn't normal. I mean, majority of creatures reproduce through sexual reproduction, and most homosexuals don't because, that's not what they're interested in. Though a great many of them do through various means because they want to have children and they want to have a family, which, again, perfectly normal. Just because you love and want to be with somebody of the same sex in no way inhibits you from wanting to have children and a family. It just means you're not going to have it with the person that you're in love with because, that doesn't work. Anyhow, people use religion to condemn homosexuality. Why? Because they perceive it as being wrong. Because something in the Bible implies it's wrong. And at a very young age, they teach their children to perceive it as something wrong. And each generation is taught to believe there's something wrong because a book that is based on 2,000 years ago says wrong. But the funny thing about how the Bible says it's wrong, in Leviticus, God basically, as a punishment, made someone gay and then punished them for being gay. It's like it's like sin. It's like Adam and Eve. It's like you put them in a situation to fail and then you condemn them for failing. So condemning homosexuality homosexuality is God's creation, according to the Bible. So why is it condemned? Well, because God condemns it. God created it, God condemns it. God's fucked up. What's in the Bible is it's just crazy nonsense. And that makes a person like me, who doesn't think there is a God, very irritated that people get so worked up and specific about what's in the Bible when it's like crazy shit in the Bible. Anywho, my point again is, if there were not Christians that had a problem with me, or any religion, not just Christians, any religion, let me be very clear. If any religion did not have a problem with someone like me who doesn't need religion, then I would not have a problem with them. My problem with religion is that they create problems. Of course, then there's the whole thing with education and the political system, and I don't like what they're doing there, and that's a problem. But it's just this holier than thou. I'm with God. I'm on the right path and you're on the wrong path, that I really have a problem with. And don't teach my kids creation, because that's just idiotic and I don't want them to be stupid like your kids. Anyways, I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist. Talk to you later.